Hey, Scott from Aristocob.com here.
And Seth from TheShrinkingPastor.com.
And together, the three of us, we are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club. Welcome, hopefully once again. If not, welcome for the first time. Welcome, boy.
Hello, welcome.
How are
It's
you
nice
doing?
to be back in the shop.
It is nice to be back.
I'm
in the
doing
shop.
well. It's been 4 months since we've filmed in the shop. With all the filming on the back porch. And
You're right.
yeah, it just was too hot
And
all
filming
summer
in Denver.
Here. Filming in Denver the last few weeks. I know
Wow.
those were not our usual episodes, but hope you guys have enjoyed those. Last week was particularly odd with the review of the vegan-vegetarian food. Vegan bacon just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
No.
No.
I'm hoping
Valiant effort.
someone will choose to surprise us someday and send us a coupon for something really good.
Yeah.
But I
Real
think,
bacon.
I think I'm done spending my money on trying to reproduce meat.
Yeah, I think vegetables are fine, and fruit is fine by itself, and it's just a matter of learning to like those things.
You know, there is one vegetable I would like to enjoy today, and that happens to be contained within this.
Carrots.
So a little break from the pipes. We are Markwood Men's Breakfast Club, and we are about enjoying tobacco. So what I have in here, if you didn't know about this, there was a great deal going on. Cigars International, I think it was Cigars International, where they sent out a postcard, and I was able to pick up this Herfador. This is a travel humidor, and the contents of it, which these are some Romeo and Julieta cigars. All 5 of these cigars and this, and free shipping. It was like $20.
That's a heck of a deal.
I know.
I'm angry you didn't tell me about that
Well,
before it
because
was over.
how many humidors full of cigars do we need?
Well, I currently have 0 because you have mine plus 2 of yours.
I know, but when you move into our house, you're going to inherit at least a couple of those
I
humidors.
had better get at least one of them, I would hope. But none of them are small and compact. This is and none of them are filled with new Romeo y Julietas.
So these are made in the Dominican Republic. These particular ones.
So this is nice. So it's got a little humidor.
Mm-hmm.
And
Little humidifier.
You just fill that with water, or does
Yeah,
that come out?
it could.
I don't wanna
It
pop
just
it out.
pressed into the foam. So here's one for you.
Yes. Thank you.
Nice little cigar.
We just before filming this had a conversation. We're going to be start filming our tobacco advent videos today, even though they will have already been out for a few days.
A couple of them.
Yeah. And this is the first video we're filming today, and we just said, hey, let's take it easy on the tobacco because we're going to be smoking a lot. He whiffs out the cigars.
I just don't know when this is.
I'm not upset about it, though.
I don't know when this is going to fit into our schedule
Yeah, it
anytime
won't.
soon. So
It won't. I'm all right with that.
that smells good.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Wow.
You want these?
So it's an incredibly cool day in North Carolina. So I got here to the shop early, turned on an electric heater, which is behind the camera making noise, and turned on and I should say lit up the wood stove. It is toasting my rump right now. I cannot believe how hot this is. It didn't take long. I'm always complaining about my comfort in this place.
You just cannot win, huh?
No. You let me know if anything catches fire back there, okay?
Just your rump in the tree.
I am a little worried about the tree. So,
You don't want to breathe through your nose and your mouth at the same time while this isn't in it.
might have been pipes and cigars. Could have been cigars.com.
Doesn't matter. Sale's not happening now,
I know.
so it doesn't do you or me any good.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Here's the downside of being as busy as I have been. Usually when I get a deal like that, I'll at least post it over on the Aristocob Facebook page. But it just didn't occur to me.
So
I'm so bad at social media.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like we are constantly whining about how busy we are or have been, and so I don't want to whine about that. But there's been a lot going on, and will be quite a bit going on in the weeks to come. You've been traveling for work. You were in California. We went to Denver. I think we explained in one of those videos that the reason we were in Denver. Did we explain why we were there? Do you care to explain?
I did on the Aristocob channel. Checked in a couple times over there, but just in case you don't watch over there, we were there because my sister was ill, terminally ill, and we were given the heads up that it wasn't looking good. The doctors had decided that it was that they've done all that they could do, and that we were down to weeks, maybe months at best. And we got out there, and it turns out she did, in fact, pass away the day before Thanksgiving. So really thankful that we made it out there.
Yeah.
She was told 5 years ago that she had 6 months to live. So we feel super blessed that we had her as long as we did. As I said somewhere, had her that long after her expiration date, her original expiration date. But yeah.
Yeah, it had been. I mean, when you talk about it or hear about people fighting cancer, experiencing it firsthand in a situation like that, it absolutely is a fight, and or at least was in Jeri's case, and she fought, and her advice to all of us, and would be advice to you is go live now, don't put it off because you're not promised tomorrow. That was something that she embraced, and amazingly was able to have a lot longer than the doctors thought.
One of the things I'll say about her and why I think she was able to live as long as she did was she was in great physical shape to begin with. And then I don't think that they see many people like her. They would have a procedure for her, and the next day when they were expecting to baby her in her room, she's up walking around the ward at the hospital, dragging her IV with her. And they have a certain expectation of mobility before they let you go home. We want to make sure you've gone to the bathroom. We want to make sure you can do this or do that. And Jeri's running laps around this place. I mean, not running, but
yeah,
you get my point. And it was a kind of a big reminder for me about the importance for us, all of us, to do what we can to be as healthy as we can. Again, don't inhale your tobacco. But, trying to watch our weight and trying to get a little more active in our lives, that's all for the good. There's nothing bad about any of that. And in order to give us a fighting chance, if we wind up in a situation like that, why not?
Yep, so that's taken up a lot of our time recently. We were out there a couple weeks ago. At the time that this will be released, you'll be doing some travel back out for funeral.
You know what we haven't talked about anywhere? Walgreens.
That's true. We haven't.
So we had an interesting story on the way out of town as we were leaving Denver. If you don't know this, the Denver International Airport is about 157 miles out of town now. It's way east of Denver. To call it Denver is really a stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, they want to really make sure that those Uber drivers stay employed.
Yeah. So we, on our last day there, had breakfast with my parents, and then made the trek out to the airport. With a couple
flights
hours
weren't until 3:30.
Yeah, with a couple hours to spare, we had a car to refuel and return and so on. And as we're starting to look for exits near the airport to get some gas, boy says,
I need some Pedialyte.
Why do you need Pedialyte?
Because I when I travel, I'm a big guy. I sweat just from looking at a set of stairs. And so I have to drink a lot to stay well hydrated, and it's worse in areas of high altitude like Denver. It's also worse when traveling for a full, we had a full day on the airplane. And so after a couple of days of travel, I was really dehydrated, and I was worried about flying home and not feeling well. And Pedialyte is nasty. It tastes like tears. It's gross. If you can avoid it, I would recommend it. But
tears.
Yeah, it tastes like tears mixed with sweat.
Social justice warrior tears.
Yeah, no, it's gross. But it is one of the best ways to rehydrate. It has really good electrolytes, but not all of the sugar that Gatorade has, and so
okay.
It's what they recommend giving to children when they get the flu, when they're getting dehydrated.
So this is not a commercial for Pedialyte, right?
No, again, I would avoid it like the plague if possible. But so because I wanted some,
the plague, which is available at CVS, which is why we go to Walgreens.
Yeah. Because I needed to rehydrate, I said, hey, can we go to a drugstore to get some Pedialyte before we go to the gas station? So we wound up at Walgreens.
First thing we do is we all realize we better hit the bathroom because again we just had breakfast, lots and lots of coffee.
Well, even before we got out of the cars, we were pulling out of the parking lot. We saw some. So the way the Walgreens is situated, you pull into the building. The building's almost standing alone, with the back and side of it leading out into a big field, big wide open field. And we saw some teenagers, maybe young 20-ish somethings out there, some youths. Two
different distinct groups. There was a group of 4 or 5 of them in one area, and then off maybe 50 yards from them, a couple other guys. 100% of them with their heads covered with hoodies. And it's funny. It's
in the middle of the school
wish
day.
I had said something because I looked out there as we pulled in, and I thought to myself, "Well, that's odd."
You did say that.
Did I say that? Because
that's weird.
What it looked like a bunch of guys that maybe were out there racing RC cars,
right?
Doing something in this field, and but we didn't know what was going on.
Having worked at a high school, I didn't think much of it. Yeah. Kids are weird. So it didn't dawn on me that it was really should have been the middle of the school day. If they were high school age, it was hard to tell at that distance, but it looked about to be there.
So we all make a beeline for the restroom inside this place, and you know how a lot of these pharmacies now will have a locked door to get you into like a hallway where the restrooms are. Well, this one didn't have that. This one had an open hallway, and then women's room, water fountain kind of recessed into the wall a little bit, and then the men's room. Those were locked, and those required us to flag down somebody in the pharmacy. They came over, unlocked the doors for us. So Boy and I go into the men's room. Dana, my daughter, goes into the women's room. We finish up pretty quickly and are
That's
headed.
Right, we do.
And headed back into the pharmacy or into the drugstore to look around.
Found the Pedialyte.
He's looking for Pedialyte. I'm looking for Jelly Bellies. And I for some reason I look up towards the front, but towards the ceiling, and notice that they had those big convex mirrors in the corners. And what I see these guys that were out in the field coming down each and every one of those aisles all at one time. At the same time, there's an announcement over the loudspeaker saying something about aisle something or other.
The very first announcement was it sounded like it was an announcement to the manager. It was like, we've got a code 8. Susie, we've got a code 8. Please come to the front.
So
okay.
So this is, and maybe I heard that, and that's why I looked. I had just put something in my coat pocket as I walked out, and that announcement comes on, and I looked up to see what aisle I was in, thinking they just saw me putting paper or something in my pocket. I just looked really suspicious. I look up, I see these guys coming down each of the aisles, and I thought, well, that again is weird.
And about this point, it had been 5-10 seconds between after that first announcement. They said, "We need all guests and employees off of the floor, please. All employees need to get off of the floor right now."
So I'm thinking, what is off
floor is lava, of course.
Yeah, so we started walking on our toes. What does off the floor mean? So there's that brief moment where I'm thinking, what the heck is going on?
And then the next moment,
I'm at the middle of the store now, and each of the aisles are separated or broken at the center aisle so you can cut between aisles. And I look over, and there's a guy coming down one of the early aisles, and he's kind of peering around whatever it was, and we're making eye contact with each other, and I kind of shrug, and he kind of steps back. We don't know what's going on.
And the next moment, another announcement comes up saying, there's been an incident, and everybody needs to find a safe place to go. Everybody needs to get off of the main floor and find a safe place. That was it.
And but then I start hearing somebody yelling at the front of the store, I didn't do anything. Get down on the ground. I didn't do anything.
I can't do anything. Get down on the floor.
On the ground! Wow, what's that about? So I walked back towards the pharmacy now, and that's when I noticed they've shut all the metal shutters to the pharmacy. And I just went into an area, kind of a waiting area for your pharmaceutical needs. Boy is gone, completely disappeared at this point, and my phone starts to ring. So as I sit down, I notice it's my daughter calling. What's going on, Dana? She's like, do I need to call 911? Where are you? I'm in the bathroom. Do I need to call 911? I'm trying to tell her no, the police are already here, but she can't hear me. She's in the bathroom. She's not getting good reception.
And he's whispering
Yeah,
because there are people yelling and being told
On
there's an incident.
top of that, my daughter has epilepsy. It's the whole reason why my daughter and her family live with my bride and I. And she is, at that moment, starting to have seizures. I can tell the way her voice is that she's not doing well.
Now, thankfully, the seizures that she has are not grand mal seizures. She's not flopping on the floor uncontrollably, injuring herself.
Grandma?
Grand mal seizures.
My grandma didn't have seizures.
Yeah.
Google grandma.
Those are the seizures everyone thinks about when they think of seizures. People on the floor uncontrollably seizing. But for her, it manifests differently. Just uncontrollable breathing, really like a massive panic attack. She has thoughts become foggy,
shaking really bad.
Right.
Yeah. So let's pause this. Where were you during all that? When they said get off the floor, where did you wind up?
I took my Pedialyte and I went home.
No, you did not.
Well, when they said everyone get off the floor right now, there's an incident. There's been an incident. Find a safe place. I looked at the front because I could see. Walgreens. They're the ones by us. The rows are oriented from the front towards the back, and so I was near the entrance side of the building, and I could see the entrance. I could see all the way to the front, but I was at the back of the store. And so I looked there and I thought, well, if there's an incident and it's outside of the store, that's not the safe place to be. So I turned the other way and saw that I was right by the employee area. And so I made a beeline to the employee area. And it had a swinging door that swung in. There was no lock on it. And so I pushed the door open and I started motioning other people into that area. There was a mother with her son that came in, a woman who was just freaking out. An employee came back that way with another guest that she was helping. And the manager also was back there. And she ran out towards the front of the store. She was on the phone talking to somebody. And I stood there. The door, I closed it. I put a foot on the door to keep it shut, and I leaned into it, had my arm across it to keep it shut because there was no lock. Thinking, I don't know what's going on.
Can you see?
I don't know if there's someone inside of the store. I could see there was a small window in the door, so I could see straight to the front of the store, and I could see kind of parts of the next rows over. I didn't see anything except for the very beginning. I saw police. I saw police coming in and escorting a couple of people out. I saw just police cars, and I saw essentially a SWAT team coming in. 4 members with assault rifles, one with a pistol.
Assault rifles? Were they fully automatic assault rifles?
They were fully automatic AR-15s. So one of them looked down the aisle where we were, saw us, and continued moving on. But the whole time I'm there, I have a concealed carry permit. I've not carried with it much because just fitting into cars and tight spaces is already awkward enough for me. And the idea of carrying a pistol while driving around just doesn't feel great. It doesn't sound great. Also, we were out of state, but I, in that moment, wish that I had my pistol with me, because I'm holding a door. I'm blocking, first line of defense, blocking this door, and at any moment, seeing the cops come in and sweeping across the front of the store, I'm expecting somebody with a gun to come around from the blind spot along the back row and try to push their way into the door where we were. And we were in a small hallway, thankfully that did not happen. But what I did see is I saw the SWAT team coming down the rows, and 3 of them came over to our door where we were and pushed their way through. And they had us go into a side room. They all directed all of us into a side room, asked if anyone had escaped out the back, and they patted us all down. At this point, they were still uncertain what was going on.
And that's where you ran into Joe Cool's mom.
Oh yeah, yeah. Inside the staff lounge was a woman just eating her soup. She was playing games on her phone. She was not bothered at all.
She was on break.
She was on break. She looked like she looked like she was a native of a part of a world where this sort of thing was just commonplace. And so we were held back there. They cops blocked off the door, partitioned us back there, and we had no idea what was going on.
So back on my side of the store, I'm sitting there, facing the pharmacy wall. Okay, so the doors, shutters would have opened right in front of me from where I was sitting. To my right, a couple windows that lead into that hallway where the bathrooms are, right? And so I'm kind of looking around, and I see these guys with their rifles right around the corner from me. We make eye contact, and the guy asked me something about, do I know, is there anyone in the restroom? I said, yeah, my daughter's in the restroom. What's your daughter's name? My daughter's name is Dana. So they knock on the door, and they ask Dana, are you in there? And she says, yes. Dana, we want you to come out, and come out slowly. So she opens the door. She's on the phone to 911 at that moment, and she's just shaking terribly. They got their guns trained on her, and they don't know. They have first questions, of course, are you in there alone? Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm in here alone. And they kind of pulled her out of that space and brought her over to where I was while they continued to search in the area. And then I'm looking at the window, and I see this cop just stops. He puts his brakes on and he stops. And he calls a couple of the other police officers over, and he says, I just want you to see, I've not touched anything. I want you to take a look at this. And then, as they continued to search around and make sure that all the pharmacists were present and accounted for and so on, they kind of calmed things down and came over and interviewed my daughter. So they're asking her if she saw anything, and all that she
and where
knows,
was
she was in the women's room, and all that she knows was when those announcements came through, someone had come into the women's room, opened up the stall next to her, fumbled around with a toilet paper dispenser, and then left. And she had the wherewithal to kind of look down and see the shoes and study what the shoes were. And your cigar's just falling apart there, boy.
Yeah, it is. That's all right.
Mine's good.
Good.
I'm hanging ash here. The police officer who's interviewing my daughter is asking her some questions about what she saw and who she saw and what she heard. And finally he says, well, I'm assuming that maybe you've put 2 and 2 together and you know that we're looking for the person who left the gun.
Nope. What gun?
Left the gun.
I mean, you talking like dropping the log, kids off at the pool? Is that kind of a euphemism, a Denver euphemism?
A Denver euphemism.
Looking for the person who dropped the gun, if you know what I mean. I don't know why that's call the police sort of offense.
So while he's talking to Dana, I stand up and I look through the window. Do we want to edit this in?
Oh, well, yeah, I'll include...
So
if not here, at the end of the video, I'll make sure to have all the pictures and videos of the things that we
So
we
I
took
look
and
through the
experienced.
window, and there's a gun laying on the floor right by the drinking fountain. I don't know if the guy with the gun tried to tuck it up underneath the drinking fountain or if he just gave up. And I don't even know if it was a guy.
Well, right.
So here's what we find out. A little bit of the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Turns out there was a shooting out in the field or the neighborhood right next to the field.
Yeah, on the far side of the field, it's a neighborhood, and there was a shooting there. Whoever was involved was crossing the field as their escape plan, and by the best we can figure, figure is someone from the neighborhood called and reported maybe where the people were. Because when the cops pulled up, they were in force and they were there quick. And it was moments after the people had come into the store to hide.
Yeah.
So they were chasing them down.
So we don't know. We keep trying to find information, but we did find an article or two that talked about a shooting in the neighborhood.
It also mentioned they're looking for 3 female
suspects.
Yeah.
Now, they were bringing my daughter shoes. Does this one look familiar? Does this one look familiar? So they had gathered up those guys that were in the store and were bringing her shoes one at a time to look at them. And that's when they, I believe, were starting to put 2 and 2 together. And a couple of the cops were in the back room watching the video footage of what was going on. So we don't know. We don't know what's going on. What we do know is this. Somebody came and ditched a gun.
Yeah.
Was it the gun that was used in the shooting, or was it somebody else who suddenly
had a gun,
realized,
cops
I
are
better
coming?
get rid of my gun?
Right.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But those folks that all came walking in were a part of that group that was involved in that shooting. They were all in the store, and there was a gun
Feet
away from us. And that was a little unnerving when you look down and you see the cold steel laying there. And it's not that guns are dangerous, but boy, in the wrong hands they certainly are, and they were in the wrong hands that day.
Yeah. You know what's crazy is since then, that was just a couple weeks ago, I've been to Walgreens more times than probably the year before that.
Really?
I've been to Walgreens like 5 or 6 times
On
in the last
purpose?
3 weeks. It just happens to be the drugstore, the place around when I need to go. When I went to one in Boston, I went to one in Paducah when I was there.
That's funny.
Yeah, I've gone to this one once or twice.
Huh.
Just needed something that was the most logical place.
The folks,
But
the
you
folks
definitely
working-
notice it.
The folks working there were fantastic.
Yeah.
They were professional. One of the pharmacists came and gave Dana water and
Gave us all water.
kind of and the police officers brought in the paramedics to take a look at my daughter, and it was all good.
Paramedic was just so good. Asked great questions and seemed to understand. And she said, he was asking, are you traumatized? No, this is normal. This is normal. I take this medication. Yada yada. And he was like, okay. If you need us to look out for you further, let us know. They even and the store staff was great. They even let you buy jelly beans. We're leaving. Everything is locked down. The store is closed. And he's like, I want to get some jelly beans.
And
Like,
Seth is
come on.
Seth is playing Mr. Serious. He's like, come on, we got to get out of here. I
that's-
came in here for jelly beans. I'm getting jelly beans.
You didn't come in there for jelly beans. You decided you wanted jelly beans once you were
I
already in
came
there.
to drop off a gun and, and then to get some jelly beans.
Came for Pedialyte. You know what we did not get? Pedialyte. And you know who got sick real bad right after that? This guy.
So we get to the airport after returning the car, gassing up and returning the car, and my daughter's still, it really shaky. And so even though I have pre-check and normally can go through a short line, I decided it would be best if I stuck with my daughter, make sure she gets through security just
I'll
fine.
definitely make sure to include
I
pictures
knew
and
you
videos
would.
of these. I wasn't going to bring it up. But now that you have.
I get singled out like I had just dropped a gun off at the pool.
Yeah, he's getting the full business.
I don't know that I've ever had that as complete as that. And I think somebody was in training, and so they were having, his boss was kind of walking him through every step.
We went through the shortwave scanner, and they pulled you aside, and they did a swab or something, and they came back, and I was taking pictures of just that part. That was just the very first thing, that part. And the TSA agent saw me taking pictures, and he said, "Did you get a good picture of me?" I said, "Yeah, actually, that's my dad." I said, "Are you guys going to, I said, could you embarrass him?" And he runs the scanner through, and he said, "Yeah, we're going to." I said, "Yes!" So they pulled him aside, his bags, everything aside, went through, and it was like 10, 15 minutes.
Let's just say they looked up my old address. That was awfully thorough. That was as thorough as you can get without removing your clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
we made it home okay. Everything's good. We were safe. It was just an experience to cap off what would have been a pretty good visit to Denver.
It was a good visit.
Yeah.
It was a good visit. And heck, we have an interesting story.
That's true.
No one was hurt.
And I got my jelly beans.
None of us were hurt. We were safe the whole time, and thankfully. It could have been worse, but thankfully it wasn't. So
they opened up the register just for me. They were still
just to get you out of there.
We were the first people that they released from the place, and we were there 45 minutes for what was going to be maybe a 5-minute run. 45 minutes, and thank goodness we were able to get everything taken care of,
and get to the airport,
and then get singled out at the airport.
Yeah, get to our flight on time. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
If you're not already watching, be sure you subscribe, because this entire month we are counting our way down or up to Christmas with our annual Tobacco Advent episodes. So every single morning from now through the 25th, you will be able to catch us for 5-10 minutes maybe each day.
And since it's still early in the month, in full disclosure, if you have an interesting tobacco that you'd like to see us trash talk or review, information will be down below in the description. If you're interested in sending just an ounce, half an ounce, however much will fit into
Couple
nose
warmers.
warmers.
We're going to smoke them in.
That helps us smoke things that are new and interesting, and lets other viewers and other subscribers get to see what might be interesting in your neck of the woods.
If you have a YouTube channel, it gives us an opportunity to do a shout out for you and to direct folks to you, and you would then receive one of our rare commemorative ornaments. So.
The other thing is, with these Tobacco Advent videos, if you haven't been watching, we have a question every day that we post to each other and answer, and then we love for you to record a video response to it answering the same question.
Yeah.
Kind of gives us all something to talk about during the month of December.
Yep, and don't cost nothing.
Nope.
All right, thanks for watching. Make it a great week, and we'll see you tomorrow on Tobacco Advent.
See ya. This is a really tight draw.
Does it?